parental alienation. This is a severe form of psychological child abuse. It's when one parent or co-parent or a legal custodian or guardian withholds a child purposely, intentionally, and maliciously from another parent who is loving, fit, and safe. They are the targeted parent. Using tactics like gaslighting or manipulation, coercive control, they'll keep the child from the other parent who is loving, fit, and safe, which then severs the bond between parent and child. It ruins it. This does irreparable damage and harm, especially to the child, let alone the parent who's grieving over their child who is alive. All kinds of problems, issues, psychological damage is done to the child, and as they grow older, they don't even have a sense of self. They can even be suicidal at times. Maybe even successful too. Are you an alienated parent? Maybe you don't even know what parental alienation is yet, or the word. Is your co-parent, whether legal guardian, could be a foster parent, an adopted parent, your ex, anybody, a family member, kinship, it could be slow at first, but they're withholding information. They don't send you pictures. They keep information from you. They don't notify you about anything that the child is doing at school or the doctors or anything. They don't really answer your phone calls about your kids or questions about your kids. They're withholding your children from you or make excuses as to why, they can't see you, which is custodial interference. Or maybe you were an alienated child, or you are an alienated child watching this video. Have you seen your mommy and daddy lately? Recently? Has it been a long time? Have you wondered why? Do you blame them? Does your parent or whoever your legal guardian blame them? If you have not seen your parent in quite a while, maybe it's not their fault. Maybe you're being lied to, manipulated, coerced, gaslit, which is altering your reality of the love from your parent, your other parent, who is loving and does love you, who is probably fighting like hell for you in court. But the courts, the judges, GALs, the lawyers, court evaluators, you name it, everyone involved. And if CPS and foster care is involved too, they're part of it too. It's systematic and it's pure evil. But if you have suffered at the hands of parental alienation, wherever you're at on the timeline, or whether you're in the beginning, middle stages, in a severe form, whatever, this story is for you. Listen.
Welcome, curious minds, to another deep dive. Today we're exploring a source that's quite unique.
Yeah, definitely different from our usual.
We're not digging through research papers this time. Instead, it's this really captivating narrative called LUMINARA and the Goblins of Parental Alienation.
That's right. And it might sound like a fairy tale, but it sheds light on a profoundly serious, real-world issue. Parental alienation.
Right.
And just for context, parental alienation, it's a really severe form of psychological manipulation. Basically, one parent turns a child against the other parent, sometimes unconsciously, sometimes very deliberately.
And the effects on the child and the targeted parent, too, can be devastating. Long-term stuff.
Deep, lasting harm.
What grabbed us about this story, though, is how it uses myth, magic, these fantastical elements, to really articulate the very real, very raw pain of families being torn apart by this specific kind of abuse.
Exactly. It translates that unseen psychological struggle into something tangible, almost visual. So our mission today is to, guide you through this rich allegory.
Yeah, let's unpack it.
We want to dig into the details, the emotional beats, and pull out the insights it offers about resilience, truth, and ultimately family bonds when they're under attack like this.
Okay, so let's set the scene. The story starts by painting this really idyllic picture.
Yeah, you've got this vast whispering forest, ancient trees, sunlight filtering down. Very evocative.
And right at the edge, there's this quaint little ivy-covered cottage. That's where Anna Rachel lives. She's described as a truly devoted mother.
The descriptions are vivid, aren't they?
Yeah.
Her warm smile, cascading dark hair, wild and flowing like a midnight river, reddish-brown eyes reflecting quiet strength.
Totally. And her kids. You've got Layla, the oldest. She's 8, sprightly, freckles like constellations, bouncing golden curls. Sounds full of life.
Yes. And then Rosie, the younger daughter, delicate auburn hair, wide emerald brown eyes brimming with innocent mischief. And little Teddy, the youngest, only 4, neatly combed reddish-brown hair, a blue vest, and these wide, curious blue eyes sparkling with wonder.
It really builds this picture of a tight-knit family unit, doesn't it?
Definitely. And you also have the wise grandmother, Anna Rachel's mother, with her silver hair like woven with ancient wisdom. Love that description.
Me too.
And the spirited Aunt Tiffany, Anna Rachel's sister, her laugh is like bubbling brooks, vibrant scarves fluttering. It really emphasizes this unbreakable bond. Their days are filled with simple joys, baking bread, telling stories.
It establishes this baseline of warmth and connection.
And that initial harmony is so critical, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because the strength of those bonds makes what comes next, the disruption, the alienation, feel even more tragic, more shocking for you, the listener. It really underscores what's being lost.
You see what's at stake.
Precisely. Because looming just outside this perfect picture, well, here come the antagonists.
The villains. The story calls them the bad goblins, Mr. Barf and Miss Shit.
Right. And these aren't just mischievous sprites or something.
No, not at all. They're depicted as properly wicked creatures. Snarling faces like rotten roots, bulbous noses, ragged cloaks woven from shadows and spider silk. It's quite grotesque.
It really is.
You seem so scared. All I wanted to do was play with you. Please come and play with me. I'm so lonely. You're not afraid of the dark, are you? Don't be afraid. Come with me. I will show you where I play hide and seek. Do you want to play hide and seek? You hide, and I'll find you. You're going to die in there. Don't say I didn't warn you.
And they're literally lurking at the forest edges, plotting to steal the family's joy.
So, allegorically speaking.
Yeah, it's pretty clear. These goblins powerfully represent those insidious external forces that manipulate and, well, weaponize children in parental alienation situations.
Their arrival, just their presence, embodies the destructive nature of it all.
It's a stark way to visualize that outside force wrecking things, a really potent metaphor for this unseen, often insidious influence.
Their methods, the story calls it their darkest form of sorcery, but it's instantly recognizable as classic parental alienation tactics, just dressed up in fantasy language.
Totally. The story says they slithered into Anna Rachel's world after her husband was tragically lost at sea. They exploited her raw grief, like vultures circling.
Such a vulnerable time.
Exactly. And they immediately start whispering these poisonous lies into the ears of little Rosie and Teddy.
Awful things.
Dreadful narratives, like their mother abandoned them, didn't love them anymore, that her hugs were false, her just theatrics. This is that smearing, that vilification campaign we see.
Undermining the child's view of the parents.
Systematically. And then the isolation tactics described, blocking visits with enchanted barriers of fog and illusion.
Right. Intercepting letters and gifts, making them vanish into smoke, and just relentlessly bad-mouthing Anna Rachel, calling her unfit, unloving, right in front of the children.
It's a textbook illustration of creating that hostile environment. It leads to that disengagement from the targeted parent, or sometimes enmeshment with the alienating one.
They also gaslight the kids, don't they? Making them doubt their own happy memories.
Yes. And there's this chilling detail about rewarding them with tainted sweets for parroting the lies.
Oh, wow.
While punishing any sign of longing for their mother, or even their sister or aunt or grandma with cold silences or shadowy terrors.
That really highlights the coercive control. That reward and punishment system used to just mold the child's reality, cut off all those natural bonds.
It's insidious.
It is chilling
Yeah.
because it maps so directly onto real-world manipulation. The whole sorcery aspect, it powerfully conveys how bewildering and, well, irrational these tactics feel, both to the targeted parent and the child. It almost makes the psychological impact seem otherworldly, incomprehensible.
Yeah.
What does that tell us? That it needs a magic metaphor to really grasp its disorienting effect.
That's a great point. It speaks volumes about the profound disorientation it causes. The story really nails how this manipulation creates deep confusion, erodes trust, damages a child's fundamental sense of self. It talks about scars as deep as ancient ravines, leaving Rosie and Teddy feeling abandoned, worthless, like there's this gnawing void where love used to be.
That phrase, invisible welts of fear, is so powerful.
Isn't it? Because it speaks directly to that hidden psychological trauma, stuff that often goes unrecognized in real-world PA cases. It reminds us the deepest damage isn't always visible, it's internal, just eating away at their self-worth, their sense of safety.
And Anna Rachel's pain.
Yeah.
It's just palpable in the descriptions. Collapsing in sobs night after night at 01:44 a.m. on a Sunday, it says. Her grief echoing.
The haunting melody of violins weeping in minor keys. Such a strong image for her internal state.
But even in that deep sorrow, there's this thread of resilience.
Yes, the story makes a point of saying she was fighting all along, gathering evidence of the goblins' cruelties, her resolve like an ancient oak.
That persistence, that unwavering commitment, fueled by empathy for her kids even through her own agony. That shows incredible courage.
It really does. And it highlights how, in the real world, that kind of determined advocacy and careful documentation are often absolutely crucial to make any headway.
Meanwhile, the kids are suffering terribly in the goblins' dank lair. Abuse, neglectful indifference, sharp words.
And those occasional bursts of dark magic that left invisible welts of fear, the goblins just constantly reinforce the lies. Your mother doesn't want you anymore. See how she never comes.
Heartbreaking. Little Rosie huddling in a corner. Emerald brown eyes glazed with tears, whispering, "Mommy doesn't love me. Nobody does."
And Teddy, his cheeks pale, streaked with dirt, clutching a tattered teddy bear, sobbing softly as the lies make him question every warm memory.
That emotional brutality leaving him trembling, fearing he was unlovable.
It shows how children can internalize that narrative of worthlessness. It becomes this core psychological wound that can take years, sometimes a lifetime, to heal.
But then, there's a turning point.
A shift.
One fateful evening.
Anna Rachel, supported by her remaining family, big sister Layla, Aunt Tiffany, Grandma, the whole unit.
Right, the support system.
They decide to venture deeper into the forest, following this path toward the legendary glade of Luminara, a place where magic lingered. And the mood shifts. There's this soft, ethereal flute melody. Hope, maybe? Mystery. That journey itself feels like such an important allegory.
How so?
It's like the act of seeking external help, finding support, finding a source of truth when you're just drowning in deceit and manipulation.
You can't always fight it alone.
Exactly. It shows that seeking help isn't weakness. It's actually a path forward, a necessary step towards healing, both in the story and, in reality, like finding legal counsel, therapy, community support.
Finding your Luminara.
Finding your Luminara. Exactly.
And when they reach the glade. Wow.
Oh,
the description is incredible. Luminara isn't just a statue or something.
No, it's a living entity of pure light and wonder. A towering crystal tree, branches veined with sapphire, amethyst, rose quartz, each leaf a prism refracting moonlight into rainbows.
Amazing. Layla's reaction captures it.
Mama.
Look, it's alive. I can see colors swirling inside, like a storm of butterflies trapped in glass. Just pure awe.
Beautiful imagery. And Anna Rachel just pours out her heart to Luminara. She's clutching a photo of herself, like a talisman of her love.
Oh, great Luminara. The bad goblins, Mr. Barf and Miss Shit, have stolen my Rosie and Teddy through parental alienation, breaking our bonds with lies and abuse. Grant me the strength to seek justice.
And Luminara responds. It validates her truth. Your hearts are true. I shall weave your wishes into fate, empowering you with courage for the courts of the enchanted realm.
Wow. Validation.
And it gives her tangible gifts, too. A glowing amulet of truth for Anna Rachel and symbols of protection for the family. It's such a powerful moment.
That external validation, that renewed hope.
It's huge. Believing your truth is one thing, but having it seen, having it affirmed, especially after all that gaslighting, it's incredibly empowering.
It gives her the strength for the next step.
Right. Facing the grand court of the forest elders, which mirrors maybe the psychological boost someone gets from therapy or a support group, giving them the strength to face the legal system.
So, the court of the forest elders. Another grand setting, a majestic hall carved from living oak trees. And sitting on the throne is Judge PAYNE, towering figure, beard like flowing silver rivers, eyes sharp as eagle talons. Sounds intimidating.
He does, and crucially, the story notes the court had been swayed by the goblins' deceitful illusions for years. They hadn't seen the truth before.
Which reflects reality sometimes, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely. Legal systems, authority figures, they can really struggle to see through sophisticated manipulation. It highlights that challenge.
Yeah.
How do you bring truth to light when the system itself has been misled or is just resistant?
When the deception is so deeply embedded, big questions about how we discern truth in these cases.
For sure.
But this time is different. Anna Rachel has the amulet from LUMINARA, right? The truth amulet.
Yes, and it reveals truths in bursts of radiant light. She presents irrefutable evidence. Scrolls detailing the goblins' lies, testimony from forest creatures.
And even the children's own faint echoes of longing captured in magical orbs. That's fascinating, like capturing their true feelings somehow.
Yeah, and specific visions, too. Rosie's happy card-holding moment, now shown twisted by the goblin lies. Teddy's neat blue vest, now tattered in their lair. Tangible proof of the neglect, the manipulation.
So this is where the story really emphasizes documenting everything meticulously.
Absolutely. That evidence, combined with the amulet's power maybe representing undeniable proof and a shift in perspective, finally breaks through Judge PAYNE's skepticism. His face softens, the story says, from stern granite to compassionate marble. He gets it. He finally sees.
And the verdict, decisive. A gavel strike like thunder. He grants her wishes. Rosie and Teddy can come home immediately. Their bonds are restored by this wave of golden light that dissolved the goblin spells. Justice served. Almost instantly.
It's a very powerful, maybe idealized vision of justice, but incredibly satisfying in the narrative, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. And the goblins get their comeuppance. Bound in chains forged from unbreakable thorns, their snarls turn to whimpers.
Grim stuff. They're forced to experience illusions of their victims' pain replayed eternally in their minds. Rosie's tears, Teddy's cries. Pretty intense accountability.
Very. And Judge PAYNE lays down the law. His voice thunders. You will never hurt or harm any child ever again. From this day forward, I will recognize and banish parental alienation and child abuse in all its forms. Anyone who disobeys shall be punished to the fullest extent of the law and banished forever.
It's absolute total rejection of these abusive practices.
Gives you that real sense of closure, that unambiguous condemnation.
Which, like you said, can be so hard to find in real life. And then Judge PAYNE apologizes to Anna Rachel. That's huge.
I apologize for not listening or believing you earlier. I am sorry for the damage caused that I was a part of, for my blindness prolonged your suffering. Acknowledging his role.
Wow. The acknowledgement of judicial responsibility, even if symbolic here, is such a powerful aspirational element for many parents who feel unheard by the system.
And Anna Rachel's response to the goblins. Facing them down. Fierce, steady.
Yeah, the story captures her saying things like, I told you I was telling the truth. I told you I wasn't playing. I told you fuck around and you're going to find out. You didn't listen.
Yeah.
So now this is what you get and this is what you deserve. It's that raw, cathartic moment.
A mix of vindication and just release. Followed by her deep gratitude to the judge. It shows that fierce determination needed.
Absolutely.
Then comes the reunion. In the court's grand antechamber, Rosie and Teddy, freed, rushed into Anna Rachel's arms.
Their small bodies trembling at first with residual fear, but melting into her embrace as memories flooded back untainted. Oh, that's lovely.
Rosie whispers, Mommy, I thought you didn't love me. But Anna Rachel just hushes her with kisses, gently explaining the lies.
And Teddy, his blue vest restored, clinging to her legs, giggling through tears, his dimples returning. It's incredibly moving.
It really is.
What's striking, though, is how immediate that reconnection feels in the story. Almost magical, like you said.
Yeah.
Because in the real world, reunification after alienation, it can be a much longer, much more complex process. Often needs specialized therapy, rebuilding trust that's been deeply damaged.
Right.
But here, the narrative suggests that once the truth is out, that core bond just snaps back like a magnet. It's an ideal, maybe, but a very hopeful one.
It signifies the love was always there, just buried. Offers this really hopeful picture of rapid healing once the manipulation stops. Then they walk home, path lined with cheering forest animals, deer bowing, birds fluttering, the cottage glowing, door swinging open.
To reveal Lila, Aunt Tiffany, and Grandma waiting with open arms, that whole support system again.
And this whirlwind of hugs, followed by this amazing image.
Oh yeah, the ancestors. Appearing from the heavens, ethereal figures, glowing with starry light, surrounding them in a protective circle, whispering eternal love.
That really emphasizes the importance of that whole network, doesn't it? Family, community, even that connection to heritage.
Absolutely. It frames healing as this collective thing. not just the immediate family, but everyone rallying around. It highlights that idea of community resilience in overcoming trauma.
Exactly. It shows that overcoming severe trauma, especially something as isolating as parental alienation, often requires that wider net. It provides strength, validation, belonging.
Couldn't agree more.
The celebrations continue, singing, chanting, dancing around a bonfire. And that chant is pretty powerful, too. You remember it.
I do. They are home. They are home. Finally, truth's light has shone.
From pain to justice we shall rise. This journey's toll can be seen through teary eyes.
No more hurt and no more sorrow. We will fight on for others even after tomorrow.
May this magic seal the deal, so we can move on and forward and now shall heal.
It's not just about their healing, is it? It's bigger.
Right. It's a commitment to help others keep fighting.
It raises that question about the ripple effect. How one family's story, their fight for truth, can inspire and empower others going through similar things. It becomes about collective responsibility, shared hope. Suggests personal healing can fuel broader advocacy.
And the story ends with Anna Rachel's cottage transformed into a haven of abundance, full of laughter. Luminara's magic lingers, an eternal reminder
that in the darkest woods, light always awaits those who seek it with open arms. Justice prevailing through passion, empathy, and brutal honesty.
And they lived happily ever after, their story passed down. A testament to love, courage, and the wonder of the unknown.
Powerful ending.
So that wraps up our deep dive into Luminara and the Goblins of Parental Alienation. Quite a journey through that narrative.
It really is. And like we said, even though it's steeped in magic, uses all these fairy tale tropes, it offers some really profound insights.
Into human resilience, the strength of family.
And that very real, very painful fight against parental alienation. It's a potent allegory, definitely.
And I think the key takeaways for you listening are, well, maybe threefold. First, recognizing those insidious tactics of alienation, even when they're disguised.
Super important.
Second, understanding the immense power of seeking truth, of persisting, even when it feels impossible.
Don't give up.
And third, seeing how crucial support systems are, family, community, finding that Luminara, that source of validation and strength, ultimately the hope for justice.
This story really drives home how courage and unwavering love can, hopefully, lead to healing and reunification, even after the darkest times, even when facing that, darkest sorcery, so to speak.
So maybe a final thought to leave you with, something to ponder that builds on this.
Sure.
If the collective belief and support of an entire enchanted forest community can expose and banish such a deep-seated evil in this fairy tale,
Yeah.
what kind of power could we unlock in our own communities if we were really committed to shining a light on difficult truths like parental alienation, if we truly advocated for justice for those affected?
That's a powerful question. What could collective awareness and support achieve in the real world, applied with that kind of dedication?
Something to think about. Thank you for joining us on this rather extraordinary deep dive.
Thank you for listening to that deep dive on the story that I'm about to read, called Luminara and the Goblins of Parental Alienation, written by myself, Anna Rachel. Once upon a time, in a vast, whispering forest, where ancient trees stretched their gnarled branches like twisted fingers toward the heavens, their leaves shimmering in every conceivable shade of emerald and jade under the dappled sunlight that filtered through like golden raindrops. There lived a devoted mother named Anna Rachel. Anna Rachel was a woman of remarkable resilience. Her warm smile and cascading dark hair, wild and flowing like a midnight river, framing a face etched with the soft lines of endless worries and boundless love. Her reddish-brown eyes, deep pools reflecting the quiet strength of someone who had weathered countless storms. She resided in a quaint, ivy-cloaked cottage nestled at the edge of this enchanted woodland, its thatched roof sagging slightly under the weight of blooming wildflowers and moss, with smoke lazily curling from a crooked chimney that seemed to hum soft lullabies into the air. She shared this home not only with her family, but also with her wise mother, grandmother to her children, known simply as Grandma, whose silver hair was woven with threads of ancient wisdom and whose stories could captivate for hours. Her wrinkled hands always ready to offer a comforting pat or a steaming cup of herbal tea infused with forest blooms. And her spirited sister, Tiffany, aunt to her children. Tiffany, a woman with a laugh like bubbling brooks and hands skilled in weaving spells of comfort from simple threads and herbs, her vibrant scarves fluttering like captured rainbows as she moved about the cottage. Anna Rachel shared this humble abode with her 3 precious children. Her oldest child and daughter, the big sister, Layla, a sprightly girl of 8, with freckles scattered across her button nose like constellations on a midnight sky, her golden curls bouncing wildly with every exuberant step she took, her laughter a tinkling melody that could chase away the darkest clouds. Her youngest daughter, Rosie, a delicate girl, as joyful as she stands in a delicate lace nightgown, her auburn hair flowing freely like a cascade of autumn leaves, her wide emerald-browned eyes brimming with innocent mischief, and her tiny fingers always twirling locks of that radiant hair. And her youngest child and only son, Teddy, a boy of 4, with his neatly combed reddish-brown hair and blue vest, blue eyes, his wide, curious blue eyes sparkling with the unquenchable wonder of youth, his chubby cheeks dimpling in perpetual smiles, and his tiny hands forever reaching out to grasp at butterflies or pluck at the petals of dew-kissed flowers. Together, this extended family formed an unbreakable bond, their days once filled with simple joys like baking crusty loaves of bread infused with wild herbs, gathering baskets overflowing with ripe berries that stained their fingers purple, and telling stories by the crackling hearth where flames danced like mischievous sprites. But lately, their idyllic life had been shadowed by the menacing presence of the bad goblins, Mr. Barf and Miss Shit. Wicked creatures with snarling faces, twisted like rotten roots, bulbous noses dripping with malice, and ragged cloaks woven from shadows and spider silk, who lurked at the forest's fringes, plotting to steal the family's joy and claim the cottage for their dark deeds. These vile goblins, Mr. Barf, with his gravely voice that grated like rusted chains dragging across stone, and Miss Shit, with her piercing cackle that echoed like shattered glass in a storm, had insidious plans rooted in the darkest form of sorcery, parental alienation. They had slithered into the family's world after Anna Rachel's husband was lost to the sea's cruel waves, exploiting the raw grief like vultures circling a fresh wound. Using cunning tactics of manipulation and deceit, they whispered poisonous lies into the ears of little Rosie and Teddy, convincing the children that their mother, Anna Rachel, had abandoned them willingly, that she no longer loved them, that her hugs were false and her tears mere theatrics. They isolated the children from their family, blocking visits with enchanted barriers of fog and illusion, denying letters and gifts with spells that made them vanish into smoke, and bad-mouthing Anna Rachel relentlessly, calling her unfit and unloving in front of the children until their young minds were twisted with confusion. The goblins employed classic parental alienation strategies, like gaslighting the children into doubting their own memories of happy times, rewarding them with tainted sweets for parroting lies about their mother, and punishing them with cold silences or shadowy terrors for expressing any longing for home. They alienated Rosie and Teddy not just from Anna Rachel, but from their big sister Layla, whose playful stories they now dismissed as tricks, from Aunt Tiffany, whose magical beads they were told were cursed, and from Grandma, whose wise tales were labeled old lies. This severance had severely broken the sacred bond between mother and child, leaving scars as deep as ancient ravines, traumatizing Rosie and Teddy with feelings of abandonment, worthlessness, and gnawing void where familial love once bloomed. In the dim, flickering light of the cottage hearth at 1:44 a.m. on a Sunday, where the fire crackled softly like a mournful dirge, its flames casting elongated shadows that danced erratically on the walls like ghosts of happier days, Anna Rachel would collapse to her knees night after night, her body racked with heaving sobs that echoed through the rooms like thunder rolling over distant hills. Her tears flowed like endless rivers, soaking the worn wooden floorboards that creaked under her weight, each drop carrying the weight of her shattered heart as she gazed at the far left photo of herself and her children, a haunting reminder of the love she yearned to restore. She grieved heavily for her stolen children, picturing Rosie and Teddy in the clutches of those monstrous goblins, Mr. Barf's clawed hands roughly yanking them away from play, Miss Shit's venomous whispers sowing seeds of doubt that grew into thorny vines around their innocent souls. The music in her mind was a haunting melody of violins weeping in minor keys, starting soft and sorrowful like a whisper of wind through bare branches, growing louder into a crescendo of anguished wails that mirrored her raw, brutal honesty in facing her pain, her empathy for her children's suffering, fueling a fierce, focused determination. "My babies," she would wail, her voice crackling like brittle ice. "My babies, how they must ache, believing I've forsaken them when I fought this with every breath." Meanwhile, in the goblin's dank lair, deep within a twisted thicket of brambles that scratched like accusing fingers and oozed a foul, acrid stench of decay, Rosie and Teddy suffered unimaginably. The air was heavy with the damp chill of neglect, the ground littered with jagged stones that bruised their tender feet, and the only light came from flickering torches that cast grotesque shadows, making the walls seem to close in like predatory beasts. Mr. Barf and Miss Shit abused them with neglectful indifferences, forgetting meals until the children's bellies growled like trapped animals, ignoring their cries for comfort with sneers that cut deeper than knives. They hurt the little ones with sharp words and occasional bursts of dark magic that left invisible welts of fear, lying constantly to keep them confused and clueless. "Your mother doesn't want you anymore. See how she never comes," they'd hiss, their voices a discordant symphony of raspy snarls and shrill laughs, the background music an ominous drumbeat that thumped low and menacing, evoking terror and isolation, softening only to deceptive whispers that promised false security. Rosie, with her joyful pose now a distant memory, would huddle in a corner, her emerald brown eyes glazed with tears that streamed down her rosy cheeks like rain on a wilted flower, feeling utterly abandoned, whispering to herself, "Mommy doesn't love me? Nobody does." Teddy, his chubby cheeks pale and streaked with dirt, would clutch a tattered toy teddy bear, his blue eyes wide with bewilderment, sobbing softly as the goblin's lies made him question every warm memory, the emotional brutality leaving him trembling, his little heart pounding with the fear that he was unlovable. Yet in truth, Anna Rachel had been fighting all along, her compassion and empathy driving her to gather evidence of the goblin's cruelties, her firm resolve unyielding like an ancient oak. One fateful evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon in a blaze of fiery oranges, pinks and purples, painting the sky in strokes so vivid they seemed brushed by the hand of a divine artist. And the first stars began to twinkle like distant diamonds sewn into the velvet fabric of the night. Anna Rachel, supported by the big sister Layla and the Aunt Tiffany and Grandma, ventured deeper into the forest than they ever had before, fleeing the latest whispers of the goblins' malice. The air was thick with the heady scent of pine needles crushed underfoot, mingled with the sweet perfume of night-blooming jasmine that unfurled its petals like secrets unfolding, and the distant hoot of owls echoed through the underbrush, their calls a haunting symphony that sent shivers down spines, accompanied by a soft, ethereal flute melody that floated on the breeze, evoking a sense of hopeful mystery, starting faint and building in gentle waves of encouragement. As these 3 generations of women bravely trekked on, they held hands tightly, Anna Rachel's grip firm yet tender as she glanced at the photo that she held of her and her children, while Aunt Tiffany carried a lantern flickering with protective charms and Grandma whispered ancient words against evil. As they followed a winding path carpeted in soft moss that squished delightfully beneath their bare feet, leading them toward the legendary glade of Luminara, a place where magic lingered like mist after a rain, hoped to offer sanctuary and strength against the goblins' wrath. As they pushed through a thicket of thorns that scratched at their clothes like playful kittens with sharp claws, evading the distant snarls of Mr. Barf and Miss Shit, who trailed them with glowing red eyes piercing the twilight, they emerged into the glade of Luminara, a breathtaking clearing bathed in an ethereal glow that pulsed gently like the heartbeat of the earth itself. At the center stood LUMINARA, not a mere statue or illusion, but a living entity of pure light and wonder. A towering crystal tree whose branches were veined with iridescent hues of sapphire, amethyst, and rose quartz, each leaf a translucent prism that refracted moonlight into rainbows that danced across the grass like living fireflies. Luminara was no ordinary tree. It was said to be the guardian spirit of the forest, born from the tears of ancient stars that had fallen to earth eons ago, its trunk etched with runes that glowed faintly, telling stories of forgotten eras in a language of shimmering symbols. The air here hummed with a celestial chorus of harps and chimes, soft and uplifting at first, swelling to a triumphant harmony that filled their hearts with passion for justice and truth, heartfelt emotions. Big Sister Layla gasped in awe, her small mouth forming a perfect O of astonishment, her eyes widening to the size of saucers as she pointed with a trembling finger. "Mama, look! It's alive! I can see color swirling inside, like a storm of butterflies trapped in glass." Rosie and Teddy were not with them, but their absence weighed like a stone. Instead, the family pleaded for their return. Anna Rachel, tears welling in her eyes, like morning dew on petals, poured out her heart, clutching the far left photo of herself and her children as a talisman of her love. "Oh, great Luminara, the bad goblins, Mr. Barf and Miss Shit, have stolen my Rosie and Teddy through parental alienation, breaking our bonds with lies and abuse. Grant me the strength to seek justice." Luminar's glow intensified, pulsing in rhythmic waves, its voice resonating in their minds like 1,000 harmonious choirs. Your hearts are true. I shall weave your wishes into fate, empowering you with courage for the courts of the enchanted realm. Gifts materialized, a glowing amulet of truth for Anna Rachel, symbols of protection for the family, and a promise that light would prevail. Empowered by Luminara's magic, Anna Rachel marched to the grand court of the forest elders, a majestic hall carved from living oak trees whose branches formed vaulted ceilings adorned with glowing vines and twinkling fireflies. The floor a mosaic of polished stones that gleamed like stars underfoot. The air filled with the solemn toll of distant bells that ring deep and resonant, evoking a sense of grave authority and impending justice. The sound growing louder as tension built, stirring emotions of anticipation and righteous fury. Before the throne sat Judge PAYNE, a dragon, a towering figure with a beard like flowing silver rivers and eyes sharp as eagle talons, his robes embroidered with scales of justice that shimmered with enchanted light. For years, the court had dismissed Anna Rachel's pleas, swayed by the Goblins' deceitful illusions. But now, armed with Luminara's amulet that revealed truths in bursts of radiant light, she presented irrefutable evidence. Scrolls of the Goblins' lies, witnesses from the forest creatures, and the children's own faint echoes of longing captured in magical orbs, including a vision of Rosie's joyful moment, twisted by goblin lies, and Teddy's innocent vest now tattered in their lair. Finally, Judge PAYNE believed her, his face softening from stern granite to compassionate marble. With a gavel strike that boomed like thunder clapping across the sky, he granted her wishes, allowing Rosie and Teddy to come home immediately, their bonds restored by a wave of golden light that dissolved the goblins' spells. He court-ordered the punishment of Mr. Barf and Miss Shit, binding them in chains forged from unbreakable thorns that tug into their twisted flesh, their snarls turning to whimpers as dark energy drained from them like blood from a wound. The goblins suffered in their condemnation, writhing and withering on the court floor as illusions of their victims' pain replayed eternally in their minds. Rosie's tears burning their eyes, Teddy's cries piercing their ears, their bodies convulsing in agony, their ragged cloaks tearing as they clawed at invisible torments. The background music, a harsh cacophony of dissonant horns and crashing cymbals, loud and brutal, evoking brutal honesty and the raw brutality of justice served. Judge PAYNE rose, his voice thundering authoritatively like a storm unleashing fury, shaking the hall's leaves. You will never hurt or harm any child ever again. From this day forward, I will recognize and banish parental alienation and child abuse in all its forms from this day forward. And to anyone who shall disobey or commit parental alienation and child abuse shall be punished to the fullest extent of the law and banished forever. Then Judge PAYNE turned to Anna Rachel, his eyes filled with regret, like storm clouds parting. I apologize for not listening or believing you earlier. I am sorry for the damage caused that I was a part of, for my blindness prolonged your suffering. Anna Rachel nodded at the judge, her chin held high with firm resolve, then turned to the quivering goblins, her voice steady and fierce, laced with the passion of a mother's unyielding love. I told you I was telling the truth. I told you I wasn't playing. I told you, fuck around and you're gonna find out. I told you I wasn't going to give up. I told you I'm not playing your bullshit games. I told you, when it comes to my kids, I will protect them at all cost. You didn't listen, and yet you continued to hurt and harm my children and my family anyways. So now this is what you get, and this is what you deserve. Overwhelmed, Anna Rachel dropped to her knees on the stone floor, her sobs erupting, not from sadness or sorrow, but from profound joy, her tears now sparkling like diamonds of relief, as the long, traumatic, treacherous journey and battle finally ended. The music shifted to a swelling orchestra of triumphant strings and flutes, starting soft in her whispers of gratitude and building louder into exultant peaks of cathartic release, evoking overwhelming compassion and empathy. Thank you, Judge PAYNE. Thank you, she cried. Thank you for finally seeing the truth I've been trying to tell you and show you all this time, with all the evidence I presented in this court and all the lies the others have told while under oath. I've been telling you the truth all along, but nobody listened or believed me. So thank you for finally doing what is right and granting my children to come home to me and our family, where they can finally live in peace and be safe. The reunion unfolded in the court's grand antechamber, a space bathed in warm sunlight streaming through leaf-woven windows, the air scented with fresh blossoms that unfurled in celebration, petals drifting like confetti. Rosie and Teddy, freed from the goblin's lair by enchanted guardians, rushed into Anna Rachel's arms, their small bodies trembling at first with residual fear, but melting into her embrace as memories flooded back untainted. Rosie buried her face in her mother's chest, her lace nightgown now clean and whole, whispering, "Mommy, I thought you didn't love me." But Anna Rachel hushed her with kisses, explaining the lies with gentle words. The scene accompanied by a tender piano melody, soft and lilting, like a lullaby, evoking healing, empathy, and heartfelt reconnection. Teddy, his beautiful blue vest restored to its pristine blue, clung to her legs, his dimples returning as he giggled through tears. They returned home along a path lined with cheering forest animals, deer bowing gracefully, birds fluttering in joyful arcs, the cottage glowing with welcoming lights, its doors swinging open to reveal the big sister Layla, Aunt Tiffany, and Grandma waiting with open arms. The reunion with the family was a whirlwind of hugs in the cottage's cozy main room, where the hearth blazed brighter than ever, crackling with sparks of pure joy, the air filled with the aroma of fresh baked bread and herbal teas. The big sister, Layla, enveloped Rosie and Teddy in a bear hug, her golden curls mingling with theirs. Aunt Tiffany spun them around in laughter, her scarves twirling. Grandma enveloped them all in her shawl, whispering stories of resilience. Above, in a shimmering vision, their ancestors appeared from the heavens, ethereal figures of past generations glowing with starry light, surrounding them in a protective circle, their spectral hands wrestling on shoulders, whispering eternal love and guidance, the scene underscored by celestial choirs singing in harmonious layers. soft and reverent, building to uplifting crescendos of familial bonds unbreakable. Everyone around them, neighbors from the forest, woodland creatures, even the trees seeming to sway in applause, was joyous and happy for the mother and her children's return, cheers rising like a symphony of bells. All of Anna Rachel's children, Layla, Rosie, and Teddy, hugged her tightly, chorusing, "We love you, Mommy." Aunt Tiffany and Grandma joined, embracing her with pride. "We're so proud of you, sister, daughter, for your courage." Then, in a burst of magic, everyone began singing and chanting ancient words, their voices blending in a rhythmic incantation that echoed through the cottage and into the forest, accompanied by drums beating steadily like heartbeats and flutes weaving melodies of victory. The music starting soft in unity and growing louder in ecstatic waves, evoking triumph, compassion, and focused joy as they sang, "They are home, they are home. Finally, truth's light has shone. From pain to justice we shall rise. This journey's toll can be seen through teary eyes. No more hurt and no more sorrow. We will fight on for others even after tomorrow. May this magic seal the deal so we can move on and forward and now shall heal." The celebrations continued into the night with singing that soared in harmonious choruses, chanting that pulsed with rhythmic energy, and dancing around a bonfire in the glade where flames leaped like jubilant spirits. Feet stomping on soft grass in intricate patterns, laughter mingling with the crackle of wood. Music filled every moment, a lively fiddle jig for the dances, fast and spirited, evoking unbridled happiness. Softer harp strums during toasts, gentle and reflective, stirring deep empathy. And as the night waned, a lullaby chorus fading softly, wrapping all in peaceful closure. Even small details shone. Berries passed hand to hand, glowing with Luminara's light. Children's footprints in the dew-kissed earth, forming patterns of unity. The wind carrying scents of victory. From that day forward, Anna Rachel's cottage transformed into a haven of abundance. The children's laughter echoing louder than ever. Aunt Tiffany and Grandma thriving in peace, and Luminara's magic lingered in their hearts. An eternal reminder that in the darkest woods, light always awaits those who seek it with open arms, and justice prevailing through passion, empathy, and brutal honesty. And so they lived happily ever after, their story passed down through generations as a testament to the power of love, courage, and the shimmering wonder of the unknown. The end.